Let's answer the question. Victor Wembanyama, is he the number one pick in fantasy basketball? San Antonio Spurs season preview coming up. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and if you've ever handled a penny, the government's got your DNA. Why do you think they keep them in circulation? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we are available on all platforms. We are talking about the San Antonio Spurs. Do you want an answer to that initial question? Can you take Victor Wembanyama at number one? He's the number one overall pick. If you want. Whatever. Take him. I don't care. People spend so much time. Oh, I've got pick 3. What do I do? Who cares? Like, take somebody there. Take Luka there. Take Shea there. Take Wemby there. Take Jokic there. Take Giannis there. And however you want to do it, right? This is not the make or break of your draft. Now, if one of them gets hurt and plays 30 games, then yeah. But that wasn't to do with the decision that you made. So if you want to take Wemby at 1 because you think it's more fun or he's going to step forward, do it. If you're in a Yahoo default league because Jokic has 2 games in championship week and you want to take Wemby at 1, go for it. If you are worried about blood clots or the fact that his field goal percentage, he takes too many threes, and you want to leave him go to 4, fine. You're not going to lose your league because you've got Luka Doncic or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Nikola Jokic. The time spent on those picks is not worth the differences there, I don't think. We are going to talk more about that, of course, as we go through here and talk about this San Antonio Spurs team for the upcoming season. Let's take a look at a projected starting group, which is probably maybe not the one that starts opening night, but that's largely due to injuries. I think this will be the group they go with, but I'm very far from convinced. De'Aaron Fox is probably not going to be their opening night, but I think he will be the starter. I think it will be Stephon Castle. I think Devin Vassell will start. Harrison Barnes and Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, Wemby's going to start. Obviously, Fox is going to start. The rest is a bit of a toss-up. I don't think that the Spurs will put Dylan Harper in there to begin the season. Even if Fox is out and Harper is back from his thumb injury, I think what they would do is start Stephon Castle, move Vassell down, and start either a Jeremy Sohan or Julian Champagnie. That is what I think they will do if Fox is not available opening night. Or with Fox not available. I don't think it'll be Harper necessarily. I hope it is, but I don't think it will be. Their rotation is definitely going to include, outside of Fox, Castle, Vassell, Barnes, Wembanyama, it's going to be Harper, it's going to be Champagnie, it's going to be the horse, Keldon Johnson, it's going to be Jeremy Sohan, and it's probably going to be Luke Kornet as that other guy. But we have some other names that they could throw into that mix. But I do think that is probably the best look at that. That doesn't include Kelly Olynyk. It doesn't include lottery pick Carter Bryant either. But I do think that'll be the group that they run with as their main rotation. So what are the major questions regarding this team and the projections? Well, number one is, how do you fit all of the point guards? Because they traded for De'Aaron Fox, who's a point guard. They selected Dylan Harper, the number 2 overall pick, who is a point guard, which was absolutely the right decision to make. They then extended De'Aaron Fox to a gigantic contract, which I'm sure was a prearranged part of the trade that they did. And people will continue to say that Stephon Castle is a point guard. Now, I will be very clear about this. I am 100% certain that the Spurs do not view Steph Castle as a point guard. Why? Well, they didn't play him as a point guard last season. Not only did they sign Chris Paul, who started over him as a point guard, but then they traded for De'Aaron Fox and they drafted Dylan Harper. I don't know how many more indications you have to get that they don't view Castle as a point guard. But I'll put it here because people think that he's a point guard. So ideally, I think they want him to be a 2. My problem with Castle, and I will just give a blanket statement here on Castle as a player. I am very much low on Castle in comparison to, I guess, consensus or a lot of people. I know that he won the Rookie of the Year. I don't care. There is so much context regarding that. The players that were in that class were not very good. The Spurs went out of their way to push absolutely gigantic usage into Castle down the stretch. Like 30 usage. for the last month, 2 months of the season, and it got him the award. He was an incredibly poor shooter. Yeah, that can improve, but I think his on-ball defense is overrated. He's not a defensive playmaker. He averaged 4.1 assists, that is true, but again, you are going to a situation now you're going to have Fox and Harper and Wemby. Like, when is he going to have those opportunities? He shot 29 from 3, 43 from the field. He was bad at free throws. Even with 25 usage, he averaged 14 points. He hit 1 3 a game. These are all terrible numbers from a fantasy perspective, but even a real-life perspective, they're not that good. He is a really strong driver. I love his ability to get into the paint. My worry there is having him, if you don't believe that he's a point guard, and he's playing off-ball at the 2, but he can't actually shoot, that's creating even more problems on this team. So I just don't understand it. I think they should be looking to trade Castle, honestly, this season. Peak of his value, rookie of the year. You got these other guys there. That's what I would have done. But that's not me. I'm not in charge, and I know that I am in the minority in thinking that about Castle. So that all brings it back to when we're talking about Castle for fantasy this season. He's got an ADP of 114 on Yahoo. His ADP on ESPN is 107. And yeah, he's a better points league guy, but in categories, I'm not even sure that he's a must-draft player. Because all of this here, right? Look, I will say this. He only played 27 minutes a night last season. So again, as a rookie of the year, he played 27 minutes a night. He will probably play more than that. But will the usage stay at 25? Where does the shooting go? Do the assists go up? I don't know. He might offset the assist number by increasing minutes, but decreasing assist rate, keeping them the same. I don't think usage stays the same. To me, he's just not an interesting category league player at all. There's just so much he would need to fix to be good enough, and that's not even including the competition that's around him. So like that ties in with my second point in the questions of the projections. Is like, what is his role? Are they going to play him at the 2? And what will they like? Which I believe is the best spot for Devin Vassell to be playing. And then that leads you to like, okay, so Sohan's role is lower. It is a very weird situation. One of the questions on this team is Wembanyama's backup. Because, yeah, like most players, we have to sort of know who the backups are to the main guys because someone will miss time. I'm not particularly concerned about Victor Wembanyama's injury, which was not an injury, it was an illness, a blood clot, which is all fixed and he's playing now. I don't believe that he will be at risk of extra ones of those. Maybe he will, but I don't believe that that's a problem. He played 72 games as a rookie. I'm not worried about his body being that tall and thin. Yeah, he had some injuries back when he was like 16. Right? He hasn't really had any injuries since then. So I'm not all that concerned about it, but he'll miss some time. And the backup, is it Luke Cornett? Because Luke Cornett, as a starter, will be a 12-team league guy. Is it Kelly Olynyk, who's probably more of a 4 than a 5 at the moment? But Kelly Olynyk, as a starter, a very clear 12-team league player. Which direction do they go in doing this? Will it be Bismack Biyombo ahead of those guys? Probably not. I don't know why they needed to bring Biyombo back. But that is an important part of it. What about how they view Jeremy Sohan? Because he was a high pick. They put him as a point guard. He's obviously not a point guard, but I don't mind that from a development perspective because it does enable players to develop extra skills. And I do think that it did help with Sohan and some of his development. But what is he now? His lack of shooting next to Wembanyama is a problem. Is he a 3 or a 4 or a backup 5? Harrison Barnes and Devin Vassell, if you're going to play them as the 3 and the 4, where does Sohan fit? He only played 25 minutes a night last season. He did have some injuries, but 11 points, like 31% from 3, bad free throws. The field goals were good, but he didn't generate big defensive stats. His passing wasn't great. His rebounding was all right. Like, I don't know how we look at Sohan as any sort of draftable guy this season, and that's reflected in the ranks and the ADP because I just don't see the big role, the big minutes, given how this team is structured. But maybe they do view him as a key piece. Maybe he does elevate ahead of Barnes and they're playing him next to Wemby and he's playing 30 minutes a night now. I honestly doubt it, but maybe they're going to do that. The last part, I think, here of the projection questions is, like, which De'Aaron Fox do we get? Or is it even possible to get Sacramento De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio? Because it was very limited what we saw with him. He barely played alongside Victor Wembanyama after the trade. I think, what did they play, 5 games together? But the Fox that we saw in Sacramento was different to the 17 games we saw of De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. Even though, like, he didn't cross over that much with Wembanyama. But he played fewer minutes, 34 minutes only, as opposed to 37. His field goal attempts were 3 fewer per game. He averaged under 20 points a game in San Antonio, despite 34 minutes, and despite 2/3 of those games being without Victor Wembanyama. His assist numbers were fine. His steal numbers were fine. His free throw numbers were fine. His three-point shooting dropped to 27, and I just can't ever get a fix on what this guy's three-point shooting numbers are. 31, 37, 29, 32, 30, 32, 37, 31. There's no consistency with how he shoots. But part of the reason, not all of it, but some of the reason why he was so successful in Sacramento was gigantic minutes. And given that Castle exists and Harper is there, he's not playing 37 a night. So to me, De'Aaron Fox is in real risk of overdraft territory. He's ranked 21 for ESPN categories. He's 27 on ESPN points. He's Yahoo, they've bumped him down to 36. Originally, he was up very high, way too high. Like, to me, this is a guy that's in the 40s for points leagues. And honestly, if you wanted to go even lower in categories, I understand that. He's not a super high assist guy. There are other point guards. He's not going to be the biggest usage player, I don't think. And the shooting is incredibly variable. He's a risky guy to me. And now he is missing the start of the season with a hamstring problem, which should be fine, but it means he misses time. There'll be a little bit of a ramp up to come back. So Fox, and we're going to talk probably a little bit more briefly on him later, it's hard for me to feel excited. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you're not going to want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you get $300 in bonus bets if you win that first bet. That's right, you pick a bet, you put down the $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You can look at their player props and put them into same-game parlays if you want. You can look at the live lines during an NFL game, during an NBA preseason game if you want. The WNBA finals, in the baseball playoffs. Look at all the live lines, the pitch-by-pitch bets, the prop bets, the futures, the parlays. It's all there over on FanDuel where you can put your knowledge to the test. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and to get started. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. We are talking about the San Antonio Spurs, the fantasy appeal of some of these guys for this upcoming season. Let's take a look at some guys that I think are undervalued on this squad, and it's an empty list. I don't really see anybody at the moment that comes in with strong value from an undervalued perspective. On the other side of it, I think there are a few guys who are overvalued. And we'll go through those ones now. I did talk about De'Aaron Fox already. I think his category league ranking, his points league rankings are fine. Like they're not perfect, but they're fine. But in categories, he's ranked at 21. I am not touching De'Aaron Fox at pick number 21 in a fantasy category league. I'm just not doing that. Too many worries about shooting, usage, injury, assist rate, minutes, for me to consider him in those areas. It's not for me. Now, again, ESPN's got the weird updates to their rankings that they haven't updated fully across their platform for whatever reason. And their updated ones do have him at 33, which is more reasonable. But I'm more likely to let him fall even further than that. Devin Vassell is also someone who I believe currently is overvalued in multiple different formats for fantasy for this upcoming season. Vassell, for Yahoo and ESPN categories and Yahoo and ESPN points, I think he's positioned too highly. Now, on Fantrax, he sits with an ADP of 105. Sounds about right to me. ESPN points is 92, ESPN categories is 84. I like Vassell a lot. Last season, though, we saw the usage fall off tremendously. He played only 31 minutes a night. He's had repeated knee problems. He averaged just 16 points with under 3 assists, and the shooting numbers weren't great. And now, it's a full season of Fox and Wemby, and it's Castle probably starting, and it's Dylan Harper arriving, and I don't even know that Vassell is going to start. He probably will, but where does he get used? Because Fox is going to want it. Wemby's going to want it. I'm guessing they're going to want Castle to have it. What the hell does Vassell do? You're taking him in the 80s, which is midway through a 12-team draft. He's silly to me. I don't really understand that. If you want to take Vassell in the 120s, go for it. I think that's more reasonable for a guy that I don't know what his minutes are going to be. I don't know what his role is going to be. That usage could actually go down from where it was, even though I still think that he's probably one of the better fits next to Wemby because he can shoot, he can defend. He can do the things that you sort of need to do. He can operate a pick and roll. But there's no need for him to do any of these things given the other guys on the team, and that just makes it really hard to get interested in him. The other overvalued guy, and I've already talked about Steph Castle, but Castle is just overrated. For Yahoo and Fantrax in category leagues, he's sitting at like an ADP of 114 on Yahoo and 113 on Fantrax. That is as a starter. That is as your 10th best guy. Now, Yahoo's rank has pushed him to 130. His ESPN category rank was at 172, but they have provided an updated list. I'm going to look where he is on the updated list now. But like 172 is reasonable, but he's up to 122 on the updated list, which is, again, probably too high. For category leagues, he's at 110, which I don't mind that. I think that's not too bad for Castle in his rankings, but I'm not fully into it. Like, it still could be high for all of the reasons that I mentioned. What is his usage? How many minutes does he play? How do they figure out where Harper and Vassell fit with this? Does he ever get assists? Can he generate defensive playmaking? And can he ever shoot? Remember the overall... It's like you're looking at an AI-generated image where you see that piss-coloured tinge. You know it's AI-generated. So when I'm talking about Castle, know that I don't view him that highly. Know that I don't think he's as good as a Rookie of the Year would indicate in most years, or as the general populace hype thinks he is. I don't view that. So everything you hear from me on him, if you think he's good, then you can disregard a lot of what I say. You can listen to it and go, well, maybe Josh has a point, or maybe he doesn't. But understand that it's not even a bias, it's just an opinion. I'm not biased against Castle, I've got no reason to be against him. It's just that when I evaluate him, that is how I evaluate him. So when I look at all these things, I go, like, I'm not taking him at 110 because I don't think he's good enough. Understand it's because I don't think he's that good enough of a player to demand all of these extra things that I believe he's going to need to generate that level of production. Let's take a look now at star level guys on this team. Who are the players who can be top 50 guys? Now, this will give us an opportunity here to actually talk about Victor Wembanyama, who's obviously going to be a top 50 guy. He's a top 50 guy, obviously, as a rookie. He is probably going to be a top 2 or 3 guy for the rest of his NBA career, at least the next 10 to 12 years. And like I said earlier, you will have I will see it. People will ask me the question. You will see it asked in a lot of spots. Oh man, what do I do? I've got to pick one. What do I do with Wemby? Do I take him or Jokic? Again, it doesn't really matter. I have him for a category league projected as 3rd. I have him for an ESPN points league 2nd. I have him for a Yahoo points league 3rd. His ADP for some reason is 4th on Yahoo, which I don't really understand, but whatever. If you want to take him at 1 because you don't like Jokic's default Yahoo playoff schedule, do it. If you want to let him fall to 4 because you want Luka and Shea, do it. If you find it hard to build around Wemby, fine. Do it. If you are drafting Wemby, remember though, his blocks are going to be outrageous. But he will not win you blocks on his own if you don't at least somewhat address it in other areas. There can be a trap with getting someone with 4 blocks, which, what did he average last season? 3.8? Yeah, like, you could think, well, he'll just win it for me on his own. He'll play his 3 games for the week and get 12 blocks. 12 blocks does not win you a week. You probably need 1 to 2 other decent shot blockers somewhere in the draft to help. And he is an interesting big man because he's blocking shots. He's getting a ton of rebounds, but he's hitting a lot of threes, but he's got bad field goals and high free throws. Sort of the opposite, which is fine. Look, you can work with that, but it's not traditional Walker Kessler. Big blocks, big field goals, big rebounds player. I know there'll be people go, get in the paint, man, so get your field goal up. He's still like, he hit 35% of his threes. Overall, his field goal percentage isn't that high, which again is part of why field goal percentage is a pretty terrible estimator of a player's shooting efficiency or scoring efficiency, and it's why I wish we would just get rid of it from a fantasy perspective and replace it with a stat that's better, because like he had a true shooting of 59%, well above league average. True shooting incorporates his free throw shooting as well. If you look at his effective field goal percentages, I just try to find where it is. He's at 56%. Like, that's not a bad number. 56% effective field goal, which takes into consideration the volume of the threes, because they're worth more points. So we look at him as like a 48, he's a below average efficiency guy, when in reality he's not, but that's how we measure it in fantasy. So I am spending time on this with Wemby about whether you take him 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but in the end, do what you want. If you play my default schedule, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 3-3-3 in the fantasy playoffs. I would take Wemby over him. If you are in Yahoo's default, I would consider going Jokic over him. But if I'm in a points league, I'd probably push him back a little bit. But honestly, the idea of like, well, you've got to get to the playoffs first. If you've got Wemby, if you've got Jokic, if you've got Luka, if you've got Shea, you have to make some pretty big meltdown decisions to really not be in the playoff mix. Honestly, that is why we institute third round reversal. That is why auction is a fairer format, because those guys are at an advantage. And you will make the playoffs. Don't waste all of your stressful energy on figuring out whether Wemby's the pick for you or not. The other guy with the star top 50 upside is De'Aaron Fox. I don't think he's a top 50 guy. Sorry, I don't think he's a top 20 guy. 30 to 40 is more realistic to me. But if we're talking about guys in that top 50 range, he's obviously one of them. But I don't think anybody else is. We're going to come back and talk about the new arrivals on this team, some breakout potentials as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. It might be 401ks or properties or investments. And when you don't have that full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money, the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's built for people with busy lives. Monarch is there for you. If you've put off organizing your finances, it is for you. It does the heavy lifting for you, linking all of your accounts in minutes so you can see the clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can maximize those investments, pair things up with your partner as well, check all your goals and your saving, your transactions. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA. We're talking about the Spurs and the upcoming season for fantasy basketball. We're going to look at who is new onto this team, who are the new arrivals on the squad. And there's quite a few. Number 2 overall pick, Dylan Harper, who I really like. Who's a very clear number 2 overall guy in dynasty drafts. I don't really think that we can be super aggressive in being interested in him for redrafts. Now, he is ranked 110 on ESPN categories. I 100% would not be doing that. There's just too much of a history. Like, again, Stephon Castle won the Rookie of the Year as the number 4 overall pick and played 27 minutes a night. Yes, a much worse player or prospect, however you want to say it, then maybe Harper is completely terrible and never even gets to Castle's level possible. All right, but as a prospect, Harper better than Castle. And you've got Fox there and Castle there. So where is the 32-minute a night path for Dylan? It doesn't really exist. I think he's more of a guy that I would hope that they clear out a way or find a way that Fox and Harper can play together and see what it is. But that's probably more of a year 2 thing. I don't even know that I would consider Harper a 14-team league top 170 guy, honestly, because of some of the concerns with like just when does he get the minutes, when does he get the ball? And even if he is sort of starting, like Fox and Wemby are going to have it anyway. I like him a lot, but it is tough to see value appearing immediately. They brought in Luke Cornett and Kelly Olynyk, really strong backup center options instead of going with Charles Bassey and Sandro Mamukelashvili, which they had last season. Either of those guys, Cornett and Olynyk, that if they started, if Wemby was out, you would use them. They drafted Carter Bryant at number 12. And Carter Bryant defensively looks great. His offense is an absolute disaster. Maybe they will fix it. But also, where is the rotation spot? I don't think that he's going to be an every night rotation guy unless they take Julian Champagny out, who's a very good shooter. They don't play Barnes, which that won't happen, or they don't play Sohan. Like, where does he fit? The offense is atrocious. I'm pretty sure he won't be a top 300 player this season, Carter Bryant. Now, long term, maybe he does work as a nice shutdown defender at the 3 next to Wemby, but I don't think we're seeing really very much happen. He's got a long way to go offensively. Maybe he comes out and he's just much improved. But man, I think we are a long way off of that. I like him. I like the age. I like the size. I like the defense. I do think there is shooting upside here with him, but it's just not going to happen this season. They also brought in the Hall Pass legend, Lindy Waters III, who does offer some shooting, but like he's not going to be a regular part of things. And then on a 2-way contract, a high-usage guy in David Jones-Garcia. Now, there's no other player like David Jones. We saw him for the Sixers last season, got cut and then didn't come back. Had some big moments in the G League, played well in Summer League, but he is a high-usage ball-in-hand guard. And my guy, that is just never going to happen for you in San Antonio. So he's going to need to find a way to sort of adjust his game to have success at the NBA level and even on this team. So it will work pretty well in a G League environment, but on this team, not really. Who are the breakout possibilities? Now, I've just spent a lot of time telling you about Stephon Castle, how I just don't really like him that much, and it's true. But I recognize he has a breakout opportunity. It's year 2. Maybe he becomes a 34% shooter. Maybe they do entrust him to have the ball more. Maybe they keep that high usage and he plays 33 minutes as the starting 2 guard. Seems all really unlikely, but maybe. And the other one is Sohan, because who else is a breakout chance? Can Sohan elevate ahead of Barnes? Can he be a 30-minute-a-night guy and figure out the fit next to Wemby and hit his threes? Be a strong rebounder, generate some steals and blocks? Maybe. I'm going to put a big doubt on both of those guys. But if we're talking about anyone who's got the potential to be a breakout, I don't really know who else it is. Apart from those 2 guys, maybe you want to include Wemby because maybe he's a first-team All-NBA and he wins Defensive Player of the Year, which would obviously be a breakout because he's never been that guy before. But he would have been that guy last season had it not been for the blood clots. There are some injuries on this squad to start the season. De'Aaron Fox with a hamstring doesn't look like he'll be available to begin the season. I'm already down on him, so people will say, I've knocked him down a little bit. I'd already knocked him down, so I wasn't going to draft him anyway. It doesn't impact my decision on him all that much, but it is something to be aware of. Dylan Harper has the thumb surgery. He could be ready opening night, but like I detailed, maybe there's an opportunity for him opening night, but I would be very surprised if they went with him over a Champagny and Vassell in that lineup next to De'Aaron Fox. I hope they do, but I would be surprised. And then the other one is Wembanyama, whose season obviously ended early with the blood clots, but he is fine. He is playing. Fox's season obviously ended early as well with a finger issue, but that's not the concern at the moment. It's the hamstring that's the problem. And then we look at this team for a schedule perspective, and it's just nothing. Who cares? It's the fantasy playoff schedule is fine. The back-to-backs is 14. It doesn't make any impact in your drafting at all. Cool. That's the Spurs. Take Wemby at 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't let him get past 4. I guess if you're in a points league, you might push him to 4 if you're going to, or 5 if you want Giannis ahead. I don't think I would. I still think he's a very clear top 4 or top 3 guy in all formats. That's cool. Then you get to De'Aaron Fox, who you don't want in the 20s. I don't think you want him in the 30s. I'm a little skeptical. I think Vassell is being overrated. I think Castle is being overrated. Sohan's not really being drafted, and Dylan Harper, I don't think is going to be a 12-team league guy. I didn't even talk about guys like Champagny and Keldon Johnson. I don't think Champagny might be interesting while Fox is out, maybe. Johnson's relegated. Okay, let's talk about this. We talk about Castle. Let's tie it back. When Keldon Johnson had that breakout season 3 or 4 years ago, my thing was that I banged on about they need to trade this guy this offseason right now. Why would you do that? He's a young forward with scoring potential. I get that. That's all well and good. But a player that plays the way he does, that requires big minutes and big usage and only leads to you having a bad team, will never be able to replicate that on any sort of real team. So you've got to capitalize on it. And of course, now what is Keldon? Now, of course, I'm not right on all this stuff, but it is giving eerie similarities to Castle. A guy that you need certain situations to bump numbers up, but if you put him in those situations permanently, doesn't that hamstring your team? Johnson's a complete afterthought now. Keldon's going to be a 20-minute-a-night bench guy with Sohan and Barnes around. He'll have some okay scoring nights, but he doesn't pass well, doesn't defend all that well. His shooting is inconsistent. He's a nothing sort of player. And he's going to remain that. And look, I wouldn't be shocked that if Carter Bryant is actually looks somewhat decent offensively, he could be ahead of Keldon Johnson in the rotation immediately. Julian Champagny could be ahead of him immediately. So yeah, he's a little bit of a concern in that regard. You know what to do if you are watching this on the YouTube app. You swipe across where the comments are and hit the hype. Otherwise, you subscribe, you leave comments, you double bang, audio and video. You watch the audio or you listen to the audio and you let the video play in the background or vice versa. You just double bang it. It's a really important time of the year for me and this channel as we push towards the 100K goal. So more subscriptions, more likes, getting into people's faces as much as possible would be great. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.